Oh, it's time for Thor's hammer again. Or actually, if you stand it up and you kind of squint your eyes, it's like a parking meter. Today, from Woodford Reserve, the annual limited edition batch proof for 2023 is here. The 2023 edition comes in at a serious 124.7 proof. It still stays part of the Master's Collection series and celebrates the work of Master Distiller Elizabeth McCall and Master Distiller Emeritus Chris Morris. Is it worth the high price tag? Let's find out. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, and do all the things to help grow the channel for 2023. Thank you so much, Whiskey Tube family. So to make Woodford Reserve batch proof, Woodford blends different Woodford barrels into one batch and then bottles that bourbon at the same proof that comes right out of the barrel from that blend, rather than the standard 90.4 proof that Woodford is known for. Now, personally, these have been really hit and miss for me the last few years, but I was a big fan of last year's release, which we will compare it to. But before we dive into the details, let's hear from today's video sponsor with a special giveaway opportunity for you guys. It's the game changer. Listen up, it's ZBiotics. Welcome back to today's sponsor, ZBiotics, the amazing prebiotic I've been using behind the scenes for at least 6-7 months now. With all the great feedback from viewers, it's really become the first drink of the night for a better tomorrow. So I was in Bourbon, Missouri at Barrel King not that long ago, and you know, with the amount of barrels and stuff we were tasting in order to make our blend that we were working on, I knew ZBiotics was going to be an integral part of recovering the next day. So after trying about 9-10 different barrels before we made our blend, I made sure I had that ZBiotics in hand and to also share with everyone that was working on the blend with us. It was an absolute game changer. So how does this stuff work so well? ZBiotics was developed by some very smart scientists who knew the real problem is not dehydration. It's actually a byproduct of alcohol that is most responsible for rough mornings after drinking. ZBiotics produces an enzyme like the one your liver uses to break down this byproduct. All you have to do is drink one of these about an hour before you start drinking, and that's it. You should still drink water to stay hydrated as always, get a good night's sleep, but ZBiotics to me makes it a lot easier for me to get out of bed, get back to work, back to the gym, and just get back to life in general. This is real science that works, guys. It's no random plant extracts, no off-the-shelf ingredients, no sugar added, 100% money back guaranteed, so why not give it a try? Here's how. Get 15% off your first order of ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic by clicking the link in the description below and using my code MASHANDDRUM at checkout. Clicking that link and using that Mash and Drum code will get you 15% off your first order. And as promised, another great offer from the good folks at ZBiotics. If you have tried this before and you think it works great, write down below in the comments why you should get ZBiotics, and they just might ship you a 12-pack. That's right, write down in the comments why you should get ZBiotics, and they just might ship you a 12-pack. They're gonna be reading the comments. They might pick you out and reach out to you for shipping. So write down below and good luck. Okay guys, let's dive into the details. The 2023 Woodford Reserve batch proof is bottled at 124.7 proof. It's non-age stated as usual, has a mash bill of 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% malted barley. It's a limited edition offering available in select US and global markets for a suggested retail price of $130 for a 700 milliliter bottle. So if you guys don't already know, Woodford Reserve is owned by Brown-Forman, who also owns Old Forester. And Woodford Reserve is a blend of column and also pot still. You have the column distill from Old Forester, and then you have the pot still from Woodford Reserve. That gets blended to make all the Woodford Reserve products. So you have that shared mash bill that kind of comes together to make Woodford Reserve products. So, but the batch proof, here we go, 2023. So first things first, it's pretty nutty on the nose, which is weird because a nuttiness profile is something I don't usually attribute to Woodford Reserve or even Old Forester. There is a slight hint of banana there, which is an Old Forester trait, so I definitely get that a little bit. I mean, it's pretty classic Woodford Reserve. Vanilla, you have some rich caramel. The caramel here is pretty dark, which I like. There's also a good amount of alcohol I'm getting on the nose, which is, you know, not surprising considering, you know, Woodford Reserve with their Master's Collection series, one of my biggest hangups with them is that they never give you an age stated offering. There's no age to any of them, and they want you to pay $130, $160, you know, depending on what it is. The batch proofs generally aren't old bourbons. Again, they use their heat cycled warehouses, I think, to try to accelerate that aging process so it doesn't come off as youthful. But I feel like sometimes you could taste that, sometimes you can't. But there is a little bit of an alcohol note in here as well, but it is, you know, 124 and change. Pretty solid nose, nothing that is surprising, nothing that's jumping out of the glass. It just smells like a solid high proof bourbon. All right, let's try it, here we go. Wow, the dry nuttiness is definitely there. The dry peanut note definitely hits the front of the palate. It's got a whole, I think it contributes to the whole experience because it is drying from front to back. There's kind of a dryness to it. Let me get another sip here. All right, that sip was a lot better. I feel like more of the caramel came up to the forefront. It's a little bit sweeter, but that dry peanut is still there in droves. It is really on the front of the palate. It's still a bit drying. The alcohol is definitely prevalent as far as, you know, hitting the back palate. It has a nice spice to it, a nice finish, but it's, you know, I wouldn't say it's overtaking, you know, the whole experience, but, you know, it drinks a little bit hot. Again, I don't think this is an old product or an older whiskey, but you never know. Nice balance of oak, good sweetness. Yeah, there's really not much to say about this bottle, guys. It's good. I don't think it's great. I think it does what Woodford Reserve does best, which is provide you with a really good, flavorful bourbon that's really well in balance. I mean, that's what Woodford is known for. They, you know, I'm just talking about their regular Woodford Reserve, you know, bourbon. It has really great balance. It works great in cocktails. It's good to drink neat. It's a great summer sipper. It's good on the rocks. Woodford Reserve is just a good, solid bourbon. I think that's what this is, except amped up, you know, to 11. The only outlier for me, I think, is that dry peanut note that I can't make up my mind if I love it or not. It's a different peanut or nuttiness that you would get, like from Heaven Hill or Beam. It's just, I don't know, it's just something different about it. Good oak presence too. I mean, it's got some good oak influence, so I really feel like you get enough of the barrel to kind of balance it out. But again, for $130, there's nothing really just wowing me about this. It's just a good, amped up Woodford Reserve. All right, let's compare it to last year's bottle to see exactly how it stacks up. All right, so the Woodford Batch Proof for 2022, 118.4 proof. And I was a big fan of this one. I thought this was probably the best Woodford Reserve Batch Proof I had in a very long time. Yeah, big difference from last year's. I think last year's, the youthful characteristic of it showed more through, especially on the nose and palate, the more it opened up. A lot more of like a corn, Cracker Jack type thing. It's very sweet. Again, it's very Woodford Reserve. You get the caramel, you get a lot of vanilla here. Good sweet flavors, a little bit of a brighter fruit note that I got in this version. Let's try it. Yeah, last year's to me, I'm not really getting that peanut note. And it's not as drying. I think it's a little bit brighter, a little sweeter. I think more of the youthful characteristic comes through in the 2022 edition. But I don't mind it as much on its own. I think when you stack it up against other bourbons that have a higher age statement, I mean, even if you're putting it up against like Knob Creek 12 year, you know, for 60 bucks, I think the youthful characteristics of these really show through. Now let's go back to the 2023. And I will say, I think the 2023 is coming off a little bit older. Now, whether or not there's older whiskey in it, you know, we won't know. But I think the extra punch of oak, the little bit of nuttiness, the little bit of dryness it gives you, it kind of gives you the indication it could be older. But again, there's just nothing that's standing out with it. You know, it's very even keel. Again, it's in perfect balance. It does what Woodford does, amped up to 11. All right, final breakdown time. All right, guys, final breakdown. The Woodford Reserve Batch Proof for 2023, price $130 per 700 milliliter bottle. Secondary market value, you will see these up to about $200 to $250, even in stores. So it does get a pretty good markup. When it comes to availability, it is limited as usual. The surprising part about this is that these usually go fast when they do come into stores. I've always said that Woodford Reserve has a very loyal following, and I think they can't wait to scoop these up when they do hit the market. Value for this one, I say it every year, it's a low value. You don't know what the age of the whiskey that's in it. You don't know really much about it except proof. and that it's a different batch each and every year, and they're asking you $130 to pay for it. The one thing that Woodford Reserve does that's smart is that most of their offerings, if not 95% of them, are all 90.4 proof. So when this comes out, to give the chance for people to try it at barrel proof, I think people get really excited, and they built that demand up for it. So I think that's why it sells so fast. The most I pay for this, do not pay any more than $130 for this bottle. When you look up for alternatives for this, there's none other greater alternative to this than Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I don't care what release it is, when it came out, it doesn't matter. Any Elijah Craig Barrel Proof for half the price of this exceeds it. You have Wild Turkey Rare Breed, of course, and even for this one in particular, you have Knob Creek 9-year 120 proof single barrel. Because of that nuttiness characteristic that this has, it can probably go head to head pretty well with it. And at least on the Knob Creek, it's half the price, you get an age statement, and I mean, you get kind of a single barrel experience. So a lot of alternatives for this if you don't want to pay the 130 bucks. And lastly, is it a skip? Is it a try before you buy? Is it a buy, or is it a buy and back it up? This one's tricky because it is a solid bourbon, but it doesn't do anything special to me. There's nothing that stands out that I have to spend $130 for this. There really isn't. Now, if you've never had one of these in your collection, I would say if you missed last year's, this year might be a good one to get. Again, it's a little bit nutty. It's in great balance. It's got some good oak to it, which I think it could have some older bourbon in it. It might be a good year to add this to your collection if you can get it at retail. But as far as anyone else that has had these before, that is on the fence about it, this is probably more of a try before you buy. If you can find it at a bar or a buddy that has this, you know, before you buy it, I would highly recommend doing it. Again, it's good. I don't think it's great. Anybody that tells you it's great, I would really challenge them to put this against some of those alternatives that I mentioned before pulling the trigger on this, because I really think it would fall a little bit flat compared to some of those other ones that I mentioned. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this review for the new 2023 Woodford Reserve Batch Proof. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, please hit me up on Instagram. Always love chatting with you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this one. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey. It's the people you share it with. Cheers, and I'll see you next time right here on The Mash and Drum. Cheers, guys.